Hello, happy Monday. Sometimes I wonder if I should say happy Monday because, like, you know, most people aren't actually watching this when I post it. So if you're watching this down the road on a Thursday or Saturday, I'm sorry. Happy day. Let's see, what did I want to talk about today? Hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's soaring in their recovery and listening to my videos and doing the things I talk about, not just watching them for, well, clearly not entertainment purposes, but hopefully not just watching them for permission seeking. But I wanted to talk about the feeling. This is hard. This is very hard to articulate. I'm going to try my best. And I do this with clients all the time, and I still feel like I don't articulate it well. But the feeling of when you have this, it's like something clicks in your brain and you're like, this is recovery. And what that feels like and what that requires. And why that feeling is so important, because that's what's going to get you through some of the toughest, most uncomfortable times with your body changing. And it requires so much bravery and courage, but also complete surrender. Like, it requires you getting to a place where, I hesitate to say this because you don't always have to be totally fed up, but something has to, you have to have enough clarity to be like, okay, I don't want this eating disorder anymore. And a lot of people have had those moments, but then they're like, I'm still stuck though, Becky. I still feel like, oh, I'm making progress and I'm doing it, and but I'm not actually doing it. I keep finding myself feeling stuck or white knuckling. You know, it's 3 months in and they're still white knuckling, or they're kind of taking a step forward, a step back, a step forward, a step back. Yes, recovery is messy. It's not always linear, but at some point, hopefully sooner than later in recovery, because you can't just white knuckle, you know, months on end. Usually people will give up before that. Sometime in the earlier stages of recovery, you want to experience this feeling of complete and total freedom. And at that moment, it's not like you're fully rewired, because you're not. I definitely, when I had this feeling the first time in recovery, I wasn't like, well, I'm recovered. But it was just like, in that moment or that situation I was in, I didn't let the eating disorder make one decision for me. And I still remember to this day what it was, and I talk about it all the time, but it was like I'm gonna go get pizza, and I'm gonna order the exact pizza that I want, and I'm gonna eat the entire thing, and I'm not gonna modify it. And and I'm gonna get a drink, like a caloric drink. And when I finish it, because I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna get dessert. And I'm gonna get ice cream at this place next door. And when I do that, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna have a little dessert. And it was just like this, like, I am doing these things. And I know exactly, there could have been seriously 100 things in that situation my eating disorder could have come in and very discreetly modified or changed, right? Decisions that I could have just listened to, but I overrode all of them. Okay. I was just like, no, I'm not going to listen to that. No, I'm not going to do that. It was this opposite of what my eating disorder wanted in this situation. And I remember just feeling, it was probably like over the course of, like, I don't know, a couple of hours, where I got pizza, went and got the ice cream, came home, started eating, like, I got a bowl out and I got my box of cereal and I'm just pouring. I'm like, fight this whole box. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And it was just this, like, free falling. I had a parachute because I knew I wasn't going to die. It was just like, this is so fun, like, exhilarating. Nerve-wracking, but exhilarating, exciting, because I hadn't done that in seriously like 2 decades. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm capable of doing that. If I'm capable of doing that, I could recover. You know, it was like this, like, moment. Now, it's not like it was just totally linear from there, but there's a learning curve that went on, where I realized, you know, after that event, I would have these, like, amazing days, and I'd be like, I am doing this, something's different about this, I'm doing this. But in the first couple of weeks, I'd find myself, like, having really hard afternoons, or I'd feel like I'd wake up and just feel so defeated, like, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do this anymore. I kind of panic. And what I realized was, like, always preceding that feeling was some kind of restriction that snuck in. There was some kind of me bargaining or compromising with the eating disorder and kind of trying to make an arrangement, because you know, I was kind of getting a little bit like, I don't think I really need that, or I'm getting a little scared. And I kind of give into that fear. And then it would just feel like very all-consuming. It would feel like I kind of would back off, and I kind of have doubt, and I started questioning, like, am I completely crazy? Why have I been eating so much? And it would just sort of come over me really fast. And so I realized after a couple of weeks of this, kind of intermittently throughout those couple of weeks, I have to make like eating abundantly my full-time job. I think that's my only like safeguard shield that's going to protect me and keep me in this mindset, right? That's going to get me through all of these body changes, right? My body had to change a lot. And each time I'd have this kind of like really rapid weight gain, but kind of like if I wasn't really fighting for freedom and I wasn't really making it, I was so determined to not allow any restriction to come in that you know, at the time, I felt like I was totally overdoing it. I felt like I was just so abundantly eating because I just knew it was my protection, that when I'd feel uncomfortable in my body, I would experience like the discomfort and the thoughts. And it was, I'm making it sound like it was not hard. It was, but at the same time, it was just, I knew I was going to get through it because I was not willing to sacrifice the freedom I had experienced up to that point. I was experiencing too much freedom that I wasn't willing to give in because my body was getting bigger. So I experienced the emotions, the discomfort, I worked through it, I had my tears, whatever, but it was like, I know I'm gonna keep fighting. This is not going to like throw me over where I'm gonna restrict for a week. Like I didn't allow that to happen, right? And so if you can make eating unrestrictedly, not just eating unrestrictedly, that's like, people are like, what does that even mean? I'm like, good question, actually, I don't even know, because restriction is so dang sneaky. Right? It is so dang sneaky when you have an eating disorder. And it's even more sneaky when you're in recovery and you have fear showing up. It gets even more sneaky. It gets even more in disguise and just sort of like almost, it just sort of slides in there without you noticing it. So instead of that, I want you to have this mindset of just complete and utter abundance, like so much that there's no doubt. There's no doubt your brain can't believe that there's just ample amount of food that's going in your body every single day. No need to fear, right? No need to fear, brain. We've got this. I'm giving you so much food. Every moment of the day, there's food going in, food going in. How would your brain not settle down and relax, right? How would it not get used to eating all foods if it's eating it all day? How would it not get used to eating tons of food every day if it's eating tons of food every day? And by used to, I just mean like all the fears around food and the complications that arise around choosing what to eat, all of the things that an eating disorder are. When you're treating food abundantly, all those things fall away, okay? And it's a glorious thing. And that freedom that you experience and that you have to work so hard to experience, because it's not just gonna happen from eating an extra bowl of cereal. It's not just gonna happen from trying to eat lunch an hour earlier. It's not just gonna happen from these little things. It's all throughout the day. From the moment you wake up until you go to bed, if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's happening again. Anytime you're conscious, you are having to treat food extremely abundantly. Now, I'd be remiss to end this video without acknowledging how important resting is in addition to that, okay? Eating abundantly and still moving is not abundance, actually. It's just eating more food and still, again, following this dumb agenda your eating disorder has you believing is the right way to do it. So you gotta eat abundantly and think of yourself as like a hibernating bear, not leaving its cave. Okay, you're gonna do, and obviously everyone, you know, has different life circumstances, and everyone can just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna live on the couch for a year. I have responsibilities, I have kids, I teach, I have a job, blah, blah, blah. I get that, I totally get that. But you're going to try any chance you get to be that hibernating bear. So if you're not taking kids around, you're on the couch. If you're not having to be at work, you're on the couch. If you're not actually having to clean the house, but you just feel like you have, you're on the couch, okay? And so I think one of the biggest hurdles that people experience in recovery, and that I do my very best as a coach to help people understand how important it is to not underestimate how much is required of you to change your brain, how much change has to occur to rewire your brain, how much food has to go in for your brain to change. So if you're in recovery and you're like, it's not changing, it's getting harder, you're probably not, in fact, most likely, I can say with confidence, you're not eating enough, or you're moving too much, or you're moving at all, right? You're going on stupid walks, or you're, I don't know, look and reflect and you be the harshest critic to the activities or, events in your day, and look for anything. Become a detective and look for anything that could be potentially keeping your brain from learning and understanding that food's abundant, and then change it, okay? So that's my message today. I'm sure I've said this 100 times in the videos I've made, but perhaps someone needed to hear it particularly and especially in a new, fresh way today. So have a wonderful day. Bye.